Good morning, BBIG family. I just want to give you an update because, as I'm sure you're all seeing when you're waking up this morning, that Tyde is officially in your account. I understand that some brokerages like Robinhood are not allowing you to sell that yet because when you click on it, it says NA as if it's there, but it's not. But please, before anybody sells either Tyde or BBIG, I want you to listen to what I have to say very carefully because I finally figured out exactly what they're did, and how they're going to try to use it. And that if you do choose to sell, again, it's your money and this is not financial advice. You know, at the end of the day, we're all responsible for our own pocketbooks. But I will tell you that about 100% of people, maybe 99%, are at a loss right now. So unless you bought BBIG at the end of day yesterday when it dipped to its lowest point, or when it dipped to 190 or something like that, that is the only way that you are in profit. And if that was your only buy, because there's people that have been averaging down and the lowest that they could have bought at previously was in that like 195 range. And we all saw the figures that 99% of people are in losses right now. So that being said, they've been short exempting it out the yin yang. And what a short exempt is essentially a naked short. They do not have the share and have been shorting it down. Guys, we all expected a big run prior to Tyde, and we got the exact opposite, right? What was the reason for that? Ding, 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 ding. When today happened and the options changed, I finally realized what they did and why they did it and what's going to happen next. We were all looking and saying, why are they loading up on options, you know, for Friday and going up until like July 15th, I think. But I know that we're stacked for this Friday as well. And then the price keeps going up that they were stacking up on. Well, guys, the reason for that is this morning I got a notice from Robinhood because I have options with them. And I'm sure I probably have one from TD Ameritrade, but I have not seen theirs yet. But let me pull up the Robinhood one so that you guys can see for yourself exactly what the message says before I tell you the scenario, because it is exactly what's going to happen and why we're going to get a run in BBIG right now over the next few weeks starting this week. So sorry guys. As part of the corporate action, your one BBIG call 450 715 position is now one BBIG one call 450 715 position. And this goes all the way down here because I have a boatload of calls, all different dates and actions, and this keeps going. Like literally for every single different option I opened, there were new ones. New corporate actions that were put into place. So I want to explain to you exactly what this means and why it's done. So BBIG 1, just so you understand what that means, is these new calls that are in BBIG 1 entitle the holder to receive 100 shares of BBIG and 10 shares of Tyde. So why does that matter, you ask? Well, I'll tell you exactly why that matters. All of those calls that they've been loading up now are basically enabling them to receive all those 10 shares at a time of Tyde, guys. But what my thought process is that's how they're going to cover their naked shorting. Well, not, I'm sorry, go back. That's not how they're going to cover their naked shorting. That's how they're going to cover the dividend that they owe for Tyde, is by making all of these calls that they've been loading up on get into the money, and essentially they're going to cover their shares of BBIG, and they're going to get their Tyde to be able to cover their Tyde as well. Now, they've been loading up on calls for this Friday, I believe, that are in the 250 range, right? But then on going into July, they started loading up on the $4 and $5 ranges as well. My theory is they're hoping that a bunch of people are going to wake up this morning, be extremely frustrated because they see that the price of BBIG has dropped, which, guys, we all knew that this was a spin-off dividend and that that amount had to come out of your shares of BBIG, right? They were going to take essentially split that percentage of Tyde and take it out of the cost of BBIG. So this was expected, and this is not something that wasn't. So essentially, the hedge funds now have a lower cost to cover their BBIG, but if they exercise all these calls that they've been loading up on, and they run the price of BBIG up, then they're also getting shares of Tyde that they're going to be able to use to cover their shorts, right? Because they owe, for every 10 shares of BBIG that they kept, they owe 1 share of Tyde. I can't believe I didn't see this earlier. It all makes sense now. So what I'm saying to you is that we all know that the float is tiny on Tyde, right? So this is how they're going to try to get those shares of Tyde, and they're going to run BBIG in the process. So it's not financial advice. You do what you want. You do you. I do me. But my theory is I'm going to stop them from getting as many shares as possible or having to cover as many nakeds as possible because they're just creating more of a fiasco by buying more BBIG. It only makes sense. And I'm certainly not going to sell my Tyde because they need those shares as well, guys, because even for however many calls that they have, they still, in my opinion, are not going to have enough to cover what they owe. Because remember, there was a crap ton of short exempt volume, which is essentially a naked share of BBIG going on for weeks and weeks, guys. So we all know that this ticker has been beat down substantially, and it all makes sense. I couldn't understand why it didn't get that run up before the spinoff. But guys, think about it. The run up's going to happen now. They have to cover all of those short exempts. They have to get their shares of Tyde. So what are they going to do? They're going to use the option pool to help them with that. And they're going to also use BBIG finally going on a run, but taking advantage. Who even knows? Maybe they try to short it down more today before they run it into the money tomorrow, because I'm sure they're expecting people to wake up and the first thing they do is sell off because they've been sick and tired of holding this for as long as they did. And now look at the price today. What does that do? It creates fear on investors. What does that do for the shorts? It gives them a leg up because it allows them essentially to cover for far less than they would have if they covered prior to BBIG. I want you to think about what I'm saying for a minute, and I think it'll make total sense to you. Let me pull up a couple more things, guys. Okay, guys, first of all, I want to give a big shout out again to Aaron at Aaron_529 for sharing this with all of us. But this is essentially from Ortex, and what it's showing us is that the estimated short interest percentage of the free float is now 22.31%, guys, and that's 39.34 million shares short. So the short interest is going up, right? And the percentage of the free float on loan is 32.75 million shares, guys. I'm sorry, that's the percentage that's the percentage of the free float that's on loan, 32.75%, which is 57.75 million shares, guys. Okay, this is a significant increase to what it's been over the past, couple of weeks. It's been going up substantially. To have a 22.31% short interest, guys, is crazy. And this number has gone up as well as far as the cost to borrow being 199.6%. I'll show you in a minute what it's currently at. So the price to borrow is getting more expensive for them. It is not in their best interest. And now that the big runner in BBIG has come to fruition with the spinoff for Tyde, they're not holding anything over anyone's heads anymore. Everyone, like I said, was expecting it to have a massive run prior to Tyde. So what happens in the market? Always expect the unexpected. It didn't happen. And the reason why is because now they can cover their butts much cheaper, guys, than what they could have before. And they're banking on the fact that retail is too unintelligent to figure out what they're doing and wakes up this morning, freaks out, and sells off their shares. When, guys, you have to think about it. I want you to look at your Tyde, and I want you to look at your BBIG, and I want you to really think. Add the two numbers together, divide the Tyde by 10, and add that to the price of BBIG. And I assure you, let's do it together, actually. Let me pull up right now exactly what it's at so that you guys realize something. All right, Tyde currently is at $3.65. So add 36.50, add 36.5 cents, I'm sorry, to the price of BBIG, which is currently at 162, guys. So 36 plus 162 is $1.98, guys. BBIG is actually up when you add in what they took out for Tyde, because when we went to bed last night, it was at $1.95, correct? So you have to think about that in the map. And if I am correct, over the next couple of weeks, I am seeing the price of BBIG going up much, much higher, guys. Literally, they're banking on the fact that people that didn't care about Tyde are going to sell off their Tyde, and they're going to get shares that way cheaper. And they're going to get shares from the option chain cheap, like basically, essentially, if they run up the price, and then they just cash out on their calls that are in the money, right? Then they have 10 shares for every contract that are in the money, guys, because they're going to get 100 shares of BBIG at its current price and 10 shares of Tyde at that price. So they're going to use those to cover their shorts from Tyde. And guys, this will be happening, in my opinion, over the next few weeks. Just watch and see. You've gone this far. Please don't lose faith in this play, because it clearly hasn't gotten started yet, and they clearly can't keep doing what they're doing. I mean, seriously. The utilization's 100%. It's been 100% utilization for months and months and months. Where have they kept getting these shares to short? This is why this market is so infuriating to me, because they cheat. They're thieves. They're greedy. They're so greedy. It's disgusting. Their way of stopping, nothing's going to stop them, guys, until they run these companies into the market. Look at Excella. For God's sakes, that poor company has had good news after good news after good news. And what happens every single time? They beat the crap out of it, guys. It's wrong. And what's wrong, and even more wrong, is the fact that all of us who use brokers for payment, that have payment for order flow, like Robinhood and Webull, and I don't know about some of the others. I don't know if TD Ameritrade does or not. I have to look into that. But guys, if you want a broker firm that doesn't, we all should be switching to Fidelity. And that's the bottom line. That is the only way that this is going to stop. Or to another broker that doesn't use payment for order flow. Payment for order flow, they're able to see what everyone's doing, and they're able to front run them and keep shorting the crap, out of these stocks, right? Because they're seeing everything that's coming in, and they're putting puts or selling shorts to cover all of the longs that are coming in, and they're holding these prices down for a long time, guys. This needs to stop. This needs to be illegal. We need somebody in the SEC that's going to do their job. And I'm sorry, so far Gary Gensler's done nothing but insult retail and make videos of us having people throw pies in retail face. Like, give me a break. Who wouldn't just love to go throw a pie in Gary Gensler's face after watching that video? Not suggesting anybody does that, but seriously, that's exactly what I felt right afterwards, and I would never, but that's what that video left in me. It was very insulting, and the fact that the SEC is wasting money on bogus videos like that just tells me one thing. They have no intent to stop this, guys. And I want you to go and look at Shoe Demon. I'm going to pull it up, and I'm actually going to post it on my page. Somebody left a comment under his beautiful write-up on Excella, which, guys, I agree with 100%, and I've been seeing this in Excella, and I have Excella, and I've been long Excella expecting this, to suddenly turn around for a very long time, and it just keeps getting worse, and I refuse to sell because I know Excella has amazing news after amazing news, and I just keep buying more because eventually when it pops, it's going to explode. But unfortunately now, guys, it is going to have a reverse split, and it got voted in. So anyways, this video is not about Excella, but my point is I'm going to put a post up to discuss what the SEC has been allowing to happen for, guys, over 20 years now. They've known about this problem, and they've done absolutely nothing. It's unacceptable, and unless all of us as retail step up, and we're going to have to come up with a plan is what we're going to have to do, because it has to be stopped, and if it doesn't get stopped, guys, it will continue. So it's up to us now as investors to band together and say we've had enough and this is not okay, because this is not a free and fair market. It's absolute BS, and they're allowed to keep doing this, and BBIG is the perfect example of this. Sorry for my tangent, but people need to be aware of what's going on because it's absolutely unacceptable. Now let me show you some more stuff on BBIG. Sorry this thing keeps popping up. I have been having issues with my Rec 4th. Literally spent half the night last night trying to get it fixed, and I'm still having issues. But anyways, Fintel. This is Fintel's data. This is the cost to borrow, guys. 220.85%. So it's up from even this morning when it was at, 190 something percent in that last screen I just showed you. But guys, even better. Currently, there are no shares available of BBIG to short. And look at here. This is the FINRA exempt volume. And this exempt volume is essentially naked shorting because they don't have the shares, so they're creating short exempts, which is, i.e., naked shorting. As you can see, it's absolutely insane. They just continued and continued and continued to build up naked shorts in this position, guys. They don't have the shares. They are desperate for shares. If we sell, that's their hope, because they need to cover these shares now, or they face fines, which are a joke within itself. But trust me, all eyes are going to be on BBIG, and it's going to start running. And trust me, they need that price to go up so that they can execute on those options and get those shares of Tyde. Or get the money to buy the shares of Tyde. If they, I don't have a clear understanding, but from what I read, my understanding is that for each of those option contracts that have the BBIG1 attached to them, you get 100 shares of BBIG and 10 shares of Tyde. If they don't have the shares to deliver on Tyde, then essentially they would give you the money to buy the Tyde yourself, is how that would work from my understanding. But anyways, this is crazy, guys. No shares left to short, okay? They're banking on the fact that people are going to wake up scared and sell. It's not financial advice, but I want you to think. If you sell, they win. If you don't sell, then, and I'm right, then the price is going to start to go up a lot higher than where it's been, and I think we see a pretty substantial run, because then we're also going to get a ton of retail that have stayed far away from this play to come FOMOing in. And guys, the best is yet to come. We are soon going to get Lisa King announcing the earnings for BBIG when we have a full quarter of AdRiser revenue added to them. And I think that we're all going to be very impressed, guys. Plus with, Lemotif, and the fact that TikTok is getting national recognition now about how dangerous it is, and there is a bill being put up into Congress discussing trying to ban certain apps, and I'm sure TikTok is one of them because of its affiliation with China being a communist country, and that they're able to gather information on all of us that use it, guys. It's downright scary when you look into it, and I am going to do my best to get a video out regarding that, because people need to be aware, and I've done a lot of research, guys. I'm telling you, Lemotif being in India is just the beginning. It's a huge opportunity there alone, guys. And I mean, obviously it's in the US too, but it's a competitor to TikTok. We're like number 2, I think, right now. And we're going to eventually be number one, in my opinion. I really, really believe that, which is why I'm long BBIG, which is why I am going to absorb some more at these prices, guys, because it's cheap and this is not going to last. So please understand that. I just want to show you one more thing, and then I'm going to post this and get the news out before people sell this morning. Okay, this here shows the 30-day implied volatility, guys, and I just want to show you something. Every time we've hit a low, we've shot right back up. Again, this one we didn't get as big as a run, but this one, boom, up, right? Same thing, up, up. Now guess what? Up. Here we are again, guys, with this very low implied volatility, and we only have one place to go, in my opinion, and that's up. So I'm going to leave you with that, I think we're going to get a run similar to this personally. They have all of these shorts that still need to get covered, a whole bunch of short exempts, guys. There's absolutely no way that this is not going to go on a rip. Anyways, that's my take on it. It's not financial advice. Please do your own DD, but I think that if you do, you'll agree with what I'm saying. And thank you guys all for watching to the end. Please like and subscribe. And I hope you all have a wonderful trading day. Let's take BBIG to where it needs to go, back to those double digits, guys. Take care.